Before the day ends, I want you to walk around New York City with me. I want you to catch the vibe and the energy that drives me to be ambitious. I want you to see what it's like to live in New York City instead of having someone just tell you what it's like to live in New York City. I want you to feel the energy and the atmosphere. We're gonna start and walk through our SoHo so you can see how the lively people live of this part of New York City. There's a lot of peekaboo restaurants. There's a lot of places where you can easily escape off the streets of SoHo and be in another otherworldly atmosphere. And I want you to pick up that vibe. I want you to see what drives the city to be a unique city in its own, an incomparable city. So let's go. So we're gonna make our way through the lovely SoHo area just so we can get a vibe of what it's like to actually live and stay in SoHo. The characters that roam this part of the city, one of the most fashionable places in all of Manhattan, one of the most carefree places in all of Manhattan, and the place where people just go to hang out and vibe. It is also one of the most social media friendly neighborhoods where people come out here and they get their pictures. All these unique cool setups, like you have a Christmas decoration straight across here, the wall that I showed you at the corner of Jersey and let's see, Lafayette is one of the most iconic places where people come and capture some of New York City's street art as well as street photography in this area. So you'll see a lot of those nice street ad wear campaigns photographed right there, and it's just a remarkable place. One of the vibes of this area is when Fashion Week takes place. Fashion Week takes place, everybody step out so stylish and they want to be the star of the show. This is their catwalk. You get so many incredible places. I don't know what this one is, what Velvet by Graham and Spencer. Looks like a cafe bar. But these are the special places in which people will take and they'll form those VIP lines to really go out there and try something unique. So you have the cafe, no, this is Velvet and Graham, Velvet by Graham and Spencer, and the other one is the cafe. Let's see, La Cabra, where they're forming that line. You have it packed in on this cold New York City evening. What otherwise would be in the summertime a space where people come out and lounge and have fun, it's a whole different ball game, especially during the holiday season where people are preferring to be inside indoors and experiencing New York City in an alternative way. But we're gonna make our way through Prince Street and head this way so that we can get a glimpse of what it is to be like in this part of the city where people come out and, you know, once they leave their houses, which is a great place if you're going to be living in this area, once you stay in some of the smallest apartments in this area, and then come morning time, you're off exploring New York City. This isn't a part of the city where you stay inside all day.
For me to ask for vacation.
Look at that, a line just wrapped. By the way, this is Monday. And what we have there, that sign says the supermarket on Marbury. Those guys are tall. Just right there, lines wrapped to experience something. Supermarket Street, some streetwear activity going on. And by the way, let me just point that out to you. You see all those people lined up there? Those are all native New Yorkers. So when they sit up there and tell you those are tourists lining up to, and you know, stand in line in New York, native New Yorkers never do that, please. New Yorkers do a lot that they tell you they don't do. But not to be so down on this amazing city, you have so many cool opportunities and places to hang out. The vibe and the energy is like no other in this area. Little boutique shops is where you go off and dine at. You have this 7th Street Burger, which is building a name through all across the 5 boroughs. And then straight next door you have this amazing restaurant called Parm. Look at the people just packed inside of there. A different experience, a stark contrast of what happens from the summer to the winter time when things get a lot colder. The buildings don't shut down, the people just adjust their behavior. Pretty cool bar straight across there. Look at the art on the wall of that bar. And look how big it is from top to bottom. Elaborate ceiling spaces, beaming bar, nice little dive bar. Interesting concept that you have there. And then you'll get something like a poetic place, the Regina, that's an Italian restaurant, little peekaboo restaurant. Oswald Perfumery Shop. So many eclectic things to do. How poetic is this? Cafe Mulberry. And it looks like it has 2 floors. And from 350 chocolate bars, craft salts, 100 bitters, pantry goodies, and everything else in between, you have this romantic little shop here. So what do you do in New York City? Do you stay home, cramped in your apartment all day? Or do you go out and explore how remarkable your city is? Fried rice. That's literally a clothing store called Fried Rice. And they look like they have an interesting concept going on there. A lot of winter coats, street style, full on. And this is far on trend. Take a look at that. But I want to spin around just across here and see that you have a different concept on shops around here. Standard and strange. How do you come up with a name like that? And then you have this Verrazzoni, I think I'm saying it right, an Italian boutique right there. You have a lot of fashion opportunities as well as intimate and exclusive dining options. Then you have a boutique called Goods for the Study. So that looks like a place where you can find little knacks. What do they call that? Stationery. A stationery shop, and it has people in it. There's a saying, you can find anything in New York City, but you can't find New York City in everything, or something like that. Beautiful kids store.
Massive.
And then you have something dedicated specifically to Christmas. And let's just talk about the real estate just for a second. Look at this beautiful building here. So you can live in a cramped apartment, or you can get an elaborate spread in such an intricate neighborhood. Different ways of living in New York City. If I could do New York City all over again, that's the way I do it, you know. Come out of something spectacularly luxury, step off into the streets of New York City and explore. Grab a bite at the local restaurants. Probably wouldn't even cook. I could go in the closet and pick out something, or I could step out in the streets of New York City and make New York City my closet. Little Ruby Cafe. Poetic, full of people. Now, it is the holiday season, so people are leaving New York City. Some of the residents are leaving New York City. Mostly people who don't live here, or people who want to go back home and visit their family. But in this part, you have a lot of people. In a part like SoHo, going into the East Village, you have a lot of local residents in this area. Expensive neighborhood, but a lot of local residents in this area. And they're not gonna leave their house and travel out to the city unless they have to, especially with these delays. What I want you to understand is if you were to go to Times Square, which would be a stark contrast, where you'll get a lot of tourists, in this area you'll get a lot of the locals. So they're hidden and tucked in this area, enjoying themselves. We won't go too many further, but I want to zoom in on this. So SoHo, where we are, that's Little Italy. If you walk in there, you'll get the breathtaking atmosphere of the Italian European setting. That's also synonymous with New York City's fabulousness, but that's Little Italy. Little Italy is the heart of Chinatown. And then look at this beautiful building here. New York City has so many cool options of living life and enjoying yourself. That's an interesting building. Look at the architecture on that building. Little red and white building. You can also count on this area for being very interesting when you think about New York City. Because if you ever think about some of New York City's vibe and how people live, you get the brick buildings inside of the interiors. Let me say that again because I probably messed that up, butchered that. But you get the brick buildings inside of the interiors. Sure, there are places uptown and in Brooklyn which will give you that brick facade. But in this area, in a place like SoHo or the East Village, they really incorporate that, bringing the outside into the inside. Everything's so down to earth here. And this is not to say you don't get tourists in this area, because as we cross on over, we're actually focusing the camera lens on towards Broadway, and Broadway is one of the most popular streets in all of SoHo. Broadway is known as its own runway, sort of, in New York City. And people like to take Broadway and they'll walk up and down Broadway as if it's their own little runway. I couldn't do it. I have to be shopping, but it is what it is. This part of SoHo, it has its own culture and its own way of life, and people just do things different in this area. But now that I think of it, it is a place where you can see a whole bunch of celebrities, do a little celebrity spotting, because you do have immersion of the wealth and the roommates in this area. That's two ways to live. But either way it goes, even if you had a roommate, you still would pay an arm and a leg to live here. It's not expensive. I'm sorry, it's not inexpensive. You will still pay a lot to be here. There's Balthazar, one of the most popular restaurants in all of SoHo. It's one of Anna Wintour's favorite restaurants, but there's a lot of celebrities that go to that restaurant. Kanye West liked that restaurant as well too. You have one of the most exclusive hotels in this area, the Crosby Street Hotel's 5-star hotel. They go all out for the people in that area. And of course, as we make our way over here, you have more of the shopping district, so all the high-end designers, Prada, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, all of that. Look at Santa Claus passing out some goodies. It is beginning to look a lot like Christmas, and I love it. Christmas Eve is tomorrow. And Christmas came by so fast, I can't believe it. Just like that, the year 2025 is almost over. And I don't want it to be over, even though I do love when things change. I just don't want it to be over like that. It's just so much you can do and so much life that you can experience. And the way that people rush time is crazy. We rush time, but we're afraid to get old. Today was rainy, But after the rain or whatever happened today, you have the people out enjoying themselves. And this is a collection of both tourists and locals. That is gonna describe how diverse this beautiful city is. Now imagine staying cramped inside your house, not going out and experiencing the excitement of New York City. Imagine discriminating against an aspect of New York City, saying to yourself, I don't want to interact with the tourists, or I don't want to go to the local area because it's dangerous. You'll miss out on so many glorious opportunities to have fun in this amazing city. That's the vibe of New York City, and before it gets too late, I wanted to capture it on camera. New York City is like no other, and to live in New York City is a goal achievement in itself. You hear so many crazy stories about how expensive New York City is, but to me, personally, I think it's well worth the price. Especially while you're young, I think it's worth to spend a couple of $1,000s or whatever you could, especially if you can afford it, and to live in an amazing city that provides so many great opportunities, so many different ways of life, so many complexities. You never know, you could find an amazing lover, great friends, a new job, a new concept, and a new lease on life. And thank you for traveling to SoHo with me. And if you'd like to see more videos capturing the essence of New York City and the vibe of New York City, hit the like and click subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.